Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. Today, Avengers Infinity War is out in theaters and people get to watch it already. Oh my God. Well, I get to watch it Saturday morning with my boys, so I can't wait for that. People are saying the ending is like incredible. I want to see if any of my theories hold up about what happens. Let's see. I'm really waiting to find out. But we're not going to talk about the Avengers here. We're going to talk about one hero. One hero, the main hero, the big hero, the most important hero, the greatest, the most recognizable hero in the history of mankind. And that is Superman, right? Superman. Why aren't we getting any more Superman movies? Technically, we kind of did. You know, we had Batman versus Superman, and then we got Justice League for a little bit. But most people want to see that Man of Steel sequel, a Superman movie, a solo Superman movie without all these other characters within it, right? They want that Superman story, and I want that too. And it seems like Henry Cavill also is still very, very much excited to be the Man of Steel again, right? He's ready to don that. He's been so excited about that. And so he recently had this to say, and he spoke to Steve Weintraub over at Collider. He said this: I'm having a lot of conversations behind the scenes with certain people, and we will hopefully be having conversations with other people who are also behind the scenes to make things start happening. It is very much in my desire to do a Man of Steel 2, a direct sequel to Man of Steel, and there is a whole bunch of Superman story that I want to tell. There's a whole style of Superman's character that I'm very keen to tell, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Now, it's no surprise Henry Cavill loves the more optimistic, hopeful Superman, more along the lines of what we kind of got in Justice League, although he also teases the fact about the CGI mustache. But I think what he really liked is that hopeful, optimistic, that confident Superman that we saw, more along the lines of Christopher Reeve, which works in that time. But I think what Man of Steel did, what Zack Snyder did, was bring a human element to it. So having him have some kind of struggle, because he's so strong, because he's so powerful, you need something to make him to have some kind of conflict in a film. And for him to have that struggle is something that at Superman Returns even tried to do. Superman, the first Superman the movie, tried to do that as well, because he couldn't save everyone. It was beyond his power. Of course, he kind of does that and goes around the circle, goes around the earth, and was able to transcend that problem. But, you know, how far? Maybe you could go back. But anyway, but it's interesting how the certain conflicts for that, because the Man of Steel is such a strong guy, they have to find some kind of conflict. So hopefully they'll still continue to do that in the sequel or whatever movie they're going to do with Superman. But he's really excited about it, and I'm glad he's excited about it. When you're looking at his expressions, he's like doing that smile, he's looking away. You know he's having a lot of conversations. You know they're going to make something. And there was that whole thing about before where saying that there could be news of a Superman sequel at San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm really excited to see that. He has one more movie on his contract, and they're trying to re-up his contract in his words. But I think that one contract, it's just gotta be Shazam. But I really feel like he needs his own movie, right? It's great to have him in cameos, and it's great that he could possibly be put in all these other movies as like a little cameo. But I really want to see him in his own movie. I want to see a movie that says Superman on it. Just Superman. No Superman the movie, no Superman Returns, no Superman whatever, nothing. No, just one word, one name on the title, Superman. That is all I need, and that is going to be quite something. I don't know what it's going to be about. I'm so excited of all the possibilities they could go. I hope they go the route of like Brainiac. I hope they go even further out. You know, I mean, there's so much stories they could do. They could do Parasite, they could do Metallo, they could do so many different types. And I don't know, I'm only talking about villain type stuff, but there's so many versions of Superman we could tell. Now I think they're gonna probably I feel like even though we're trying to fight for the Snyder Cut, we're trying to fight for that return, I think the way they handled Superman, at least, where he comes back, he's so happy with life, to be alive, that he becomes that more confident figure, more hopeful, more optimistic. It seems the natural route he was going to go in the Snyder Cut anyway, right? Because Snyder did actually shoot the part where he rips open his shirt. So that was the Superman we're going to get. So that's the route they're going to take. He's going to be more, if you want to call Boy Scout-ish in the new Superman movie, but I think they're going to try to do some kind of conflict there, I hope anyway, to make it a little bit more more convincing, more human story to it, even though he's a god from another planet, in a way. There's much to that as well. But what's interesting is who's going to direct it. There were so many people who appreciate Zack Snyder works who wanted to do the Superman. There's of course you have Matthew Vaughn, who wanted to have it more like Christopher Reeve. Not a lot of people like that. Darren Aronofsky also had thought about a Superman story as well. Stephen DeKnight could be something. But a new person is Christopher McQuarrie. Christopher McQuarrie, who directed Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible Fallout, actually talked to Henry Cavill about Superman. This is what he had to say. He said, "We had a lot of time hanging out on set, and Henry's a huge fan of Superman. I can't help but talk story to people, so he told me his take on Superman, and I thought it was really great, and I gave him my 2 cents. The tweet you're referring to is somebody asked, 'Would you do it?' And I said, 'Hey, they know where to find me.' Nobody's asked, but trailing off." And so that alludes to Henry Cavill's comments with he's having a lot of conversations with people. Looks like Christopher McQuarrie is one of them. That'd be pretty awesome and great in itself. That's a very interesting take. I really want to see his take on Superman, but most thing is that I just want to see a Superman sequel. Now, not a lot of people who are very concerned that they're not going to continue the Zack Snyder world, and we have seen that in Justice League where they don't even talk about the Codex, right? We originally thought that they would utilize the Codex in order to bring him back. Of course, they didn't go there. They're trying to minimize Zack Snyder's influence on there. They're trying to minimize the backdrop story of before. They allude to that there was a Man of Steel. They allude to there was a Batman v Superman, but any of those archetypes and all those little nitty-gritty has been kind of pushed aside, thrown away, if you will, because Justice League, to me, seems like a reset reboot in a way in terms of style, which I don't really care for, but I can see mainstream audiences probably like that a little bit more. But I don't know what's going to happen here. I hope that something happens. In my mind, in my heart, I wish that they would release the Zack Snyder cut, right? And then they'll reset that and then pull it all 3 movies together so that there is the Codex, there is all that history and lore from the Snyderverse, if you will, and then plop that back into a new Superman movie, utilizing the Codex and all this stuff. There was an interesting thing that just now I get to really talk about Justin, but Justin Narth had linked to me what Zack Snyder had liked on Vero. He posted up a picture of what looks like a film script from 2001, Space Odyssey, and the conversation all of a sudden went to Man of Steel, right? And talk about how the ship was the Kryptonian ship had landed 50,000 years ago. Kara was in the comic, the prequel to Man of Steel. So people were wondering, was that Kara? Was that Supergirl? And Zack Snyder kind of alluded that wasn't Supergirl. That wasn't Kara, the Supergirl that was intended. There were plans to make a Supergirl, and the plans in order to get Supergirl, or at least that version, maybe she died or something, but somehow get her was in the movie. The clue to revive Supergirl or get Supergirl was right in our face, and I think that was the Codex, because Kal-El had the Codex in him. The Codex is all the intricacies, the DNA of Krypton. It housed all the DNA of Krypton. So it may be, you could say that Kara's DNA was probably in there, and they were able to make Kara or something along the lines of how either Superman comes back. So there's possibilities of that, but that is now gone, maybe gone. But if they utilize that and are able to bring Kara back, I think they could go back to that Codex mythology that Zack Snyder had done, and create the Supergirl storyline. They could do that with Man of Steel sequel. Although I kind of hope that maybe they'll just do a straight up Superman sequel with just Superman and his story, and then maybe the next one have his cousin come down. I don't know. The cousin could come down and it could connect to Darkseid. Okay, I'm going a little bit so far in the future, but I could see Cavill already thinking up all these different storylines. He's probably looking at all the comments like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. So I'm very excited for him, and I'm glad he's still very excited. He's not like other people who are like, I'm tired of this, I want to do other movies and stuff like that. I want to do more drama or something like that. He really wants to be Superman, and the way he acts and the way he's out there, he really is like Superman. He's really a really cool, ordinary guy, and I hope he gets more of a future in Superman. I hope this DC extended universe continues on with him as Superman, even though we know that Ben Affleck's, there's still a 50-50 chance he may or may not return. I hope he returns fully, but if not, at least we got Henry Cavill as the starring role as the Man of Steel himself, Superman. So I don't know. Hopefully something comes up soon. Hopefully San Diego Comic-Con will learn a lot more about what to expect from Superman, what to expect for the future of the DC Extended Universe, and what type are they actually really letting go of Zack Snyder's work, or because of the change of both Walter Hamada, they're actually may or may not bring it back. We'll see. It's very curious, and I'm very curious what to see what they're going to do from here on forth. All right, guys, what do you guys think about Henry Cavill's comments about a possible Superman sequels coming up? Are you ready? Do you want it? And what type? Do you want them to continue with the Snyderverse, or do you want them continuing the route that Justice League has taken? All right, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.